Today we have assembled here to do the Kundalini Puja. Once we had done it in India, long time back, and this is the first time we are doing this puja here in Austria. This is the puja of the Adi Kundalini. Is the primordial Kundalini. Can you just put it over? You must have seen in the hand of Athena, who is the primordial mother, there is a power which is a snake in the left hand. It's all right, little far away if you keep it. Yes, it's all right. And the primordial mother has one of her powers, which we can say as the primordial Kundalini, is a part of her. Of course, she's beyond that. But she is reflected in human beings as the Kundalini. Now, one has to know that to create an incarnation, a lot of work has gone into. So many things had to be envisaged. One had to have the vision that when a human being is created, how an incarnation can help him. At different levels, we had incarnations on this earth, and they were sent with a particular idea that they should achieve a particular type of ascent in that particular time. They were all part and parcel of the primordial mother. And they all had a very powerful Kundalini built within them. But the incarnation of this Kali Yuga is very complicated. First, it had to be worked out what would be the situation in which this incarnation would be born. And what sort of encounters this incarnation would have. So, the major propelling force, you can say, or the major work had to be done in the incarnation to create a very strong spinal cord so that it could bear the primordial Kundalini, which is responsible for doing this great work of transformation. Now, this Kundalini, which is the primordial one, has all the powers built in of redemption, of ascent. But apart from that, to be born in this Kali Yuga, one had to know what sort of people one has to face, and then how to bring them around to the understanding of Sahaja Yoga and to the understanding that they have to have their ascent. So there are many sources of energies and knowledge which are to be used because it's a very complicated world in which the primordial Kundalini had to work. It was not a simple thing like people coming to Himalayas. They were already clean people, very desirous of getting realization. They didn't have all kinds of inhibitions and conditions and ego. They were completely surrendered, and after a great amount of penance, they would arrive. So to raise their Kundalini was not such a complicated. So not only that, the primordial Kundalini had to give assent to people, but she had to also understand what sort of people are there. Why why don't you take out the child? What's the matter? I think you open the windows, perhaps the children are feeling hot. Normally, children don't cry unless and if there's some problem. You have to be careful. So, all the aspects of human beings on the random movement of human beings, all their adventures and enterprises were to be understood by the incarnation to communicate with the primordial Kundali. And also, such a person had to be a Mahamaya so that she or he, whatever it is, has to behave in such a manner that nobody should feel frightened or should feel something distant. So, this Mahamaya Swarupa had to be taken. So, the Adishakti's work is double fold. First is to know about the present, the way the people are, their cultures, their styles, their conditionings, their egos, everything, how they behave. Though the Adishakti is unaware of all these things because she doesn't know this is human adventure. She doesn't know how far they have gone. And what do they see? What do they dream? What are their ideas? And the another work is of the Kundalini. So she is divided into two parts. One is the Kundalini and another is the Sahasrara. So Sahasrara has to supply all the material, all the information to the Kundalini. And then the Kundalini has to work out. Of course, as you know very well, there are deities who are built in everywhere, in the Sahasrara also, the whole body. And they are the ones who communicate whatever has to be communicated properly. But it's a very complicated work, extremely complicated. So this primordial Kundalini acts for the collective samashti as well as for the individual. Now, supposing you go to a place like, say, an airport, so you start absorbing the heat of the people. Then the perspiration starts, and you have to see that all this work is done through your body. Or at the same time, if there's somebody, individual, who has some problem, also can be absorbed and can be corrected. So it acts on both the levels, one on the individual and one on the collective, as they say, samashti and vyashti. And simultaneously it can act. Now the attention, which is the power of the brain, we can say, or power of Sahasrara, also has to be extremely deep, alert, and intelligible. All this work had to be done to create this incarnation of primordial Kundalini and a Sahasrara. So many mechanisms were used, so many types of wiring was done as you do it. Like as you try to fix your computer to make it the most efficient one. In the same way, a lot of work was to be put in. And first, you had to watch human beings for 2000 years. How they have been behaving, what they have been doing, and now what sort of human beings are there. Every nation had different conditionings. Every individual had different conditioning. It's a very difficult work. And one had to have really the ocean of patience, inexhaustible ocean of patience. And that's how this work of Sahaja Yoga, the whole stage was set in. As you have put the stage here, you have done a marvelous work. And looks very nice, beautiful, everything is there. But the stage for Sahaja Yoga was a very complicated one, extremely complicated. because the work was so dynamic, so subtle, at the same time, so loving, so affectionate. All the intelligence of the divine was used to manufacture this incarnation. And to get a human realization was also very difficult. You had to be born like an ordinary human being, to live in your family like an ordinary person. You had to find out through entering into everybody's Kundalini what was wrong with them, what was the mistake, how you could use the permutations and combinations of their chakras to give them amas realization. It was a tremendous task, and that had to be done with the Sahasrara. But it has been achieved. All these great plans of the divine and everybody's detailed working and bringing everything to a par excellence level was really tremendous. I myself surprised at myself and amazed how I could really get so many people in Sahaja Yoga. I didn't expect, but it has worked tremendously because of the cooperation of human beings also. Otherwise, it would not have been possible. Now, when you do these pujas and all those things, you please those deities, make them happy because they have done so much work. Is your gratitude for them that they have worked so hard with such diligence, with such precisions, that today we have been able to achieve this great drama of Sahaja Yoga. Those who are Sahajogis perhaps do not realize what is the great work done in the background and how much time it took to build up the whole thing, to bring it to this level of perfection. So, the primordial Kundalini, which is reflected in you as your Kundalini, also is of the same nature. And it works in the same way. It rises, gives you self realization, gives you the powers. But after all, one has to know it is a reflection. And the reflection, to make it truthful, real, you have to look at the reality first. How the real one, the real Kundalini, the real primordial one, how it acts, how it works. If you start thinking about my Kundalini only, immediately you'll become silent. No question. You cannot think, just you'll become silent. Just think of any one of my chakras. and your chakras will be all right. But you have to have that depth. You have to have that much protocol. You have to have that much right. Just it will act. Don't have to do anything. Just you have to think of my chakras. Just think about my kundalini. That's sufficient. But you have to develop that surrendering situation. Even now, there are Sahajogis who doubt. They have seen the work, they have seen everything, still they doubt. And they yield to people who are on the periphery. And there are Sahajogis who still sticking on to many things they cannot change. They haven't got yet that courage to change themselves. I don't say that you have to change anything outside. But if time comes, you might have to change also. So you should be prepared. How much we are courageous, that is to be weighed and to be found out. Unless and until you have full courage, you cannot establish Sahajoga in a quick way. When you are using your own Kundalini, you have to know that the Kundalini that is your own has problems. She herself has gone through various ages and stages, and she herself is sometimes very much hurt, very unhappy, and very weak, and then she cannot rise. So, if you want that this Kundalini that is your own mother, has to give you all the nourishment and everything, you must learn, first of all, foremost thing, how to surrender to reality. So, if you learn how to surrender to the primordial Kundalini, then your Kundalini is immediately strengthened. It's like this. Supposing you have a stone and you try to put anything on it, it won't reflect. Then you improve, it's a wood, still nothing will be reflected. Then you paint it, some reflection will come. Then you have the glass won't reflect. But if you use some mercury and make it a mirror, it will reflect. But still, it may not be the perfect mirror. So, this is how the kind of a reflector you are, on that depends the kind of a reflection you get and the kind of personality you develop. So, there should be no aim as such, but to be dissolved into the reality should be the desire within you. Start dissolving into it. Then one does not have to talk about detachment. One does not have to talk about anything, about any virtues. They automatically come because now you have become the divine. Once you become the divine, even your Kundalini becomes absolutely, beautifully, completely reflecting the primordial one. So today I had decided to have this puja and to tell you about this primordial Kundalini, how it has been worked out, it has been built in, and it has been given so many powers. Formerly, before this kind of Sahaja Yoga, people had to cleanse their chakras, cleanse their body, cleanse their mind, do all kinds of things, tapas, and then they would think of having realization. Even Mahavira did 12 years of tapas. While in Sahaja Yoga, none of you have done any tapas, nothing. From the very first day, you have been blessed and you have had blessings and you have been enjoying your blessings throughout. So that is a temptation. Remember, it's a temptation. Don't get lost with the blessings that you are having. You have to go further and further and further. So it's not a difficult life in Sahaja Yoga at all. On the contrary, it's very much easier. But then people start using Sahaja Yoga for certain purposes, which secretly they know that they are using Sahaja Yoga for this purpose and that purpose. If you start using Sahaja Yoga for any such purpose, then again you have a fall. Then again you have to understand that this was the wrong thing, and then again you rise. So people go like this, up and down, up and down, up and down. But still, I must say, this realization that is given to you has been given without cleansing you, without telling you anything, without asking for anything, without any kind of uh, bondage on you, bandhan on you. And you got this realization. But now, immediately after realization, you are in the bondage of uh, your Kundalini. And you have to look after her and you have to look after yourself. Now you have to identify yourself fully with your Kundalini. And then everything works out all right. So today is the day when we have to decide that our greatest weapon as Austria is Astra, is Kundalini. And we should know how to use it, what mantras to be used, what is the problem we have, and we should not be shy of our problem. If we have a problem, we should know this is our problem, must be corrected. Also, we should know the technique fully. I find that some people know a lot of techniques and also they know how to give big speeches, but they are not good in their hearts. The hearts are not clean. They want to use their power of speech just to show off their knowledge. Then there are some people who are who are such that they are good in vibrations and they want to give vibrations, but they are afraid and they don't know much about the technique. So you have to know all these three things properly if you really want to achieve full results of your ascent. And if you want to really transform the world, then you must know you have to be ideal people. You cannot be problematic people. Now, see, yesterday I was surprised. How many people there were sick? How many people were suffering from this or that? While you should thank your stars that none of you have any sickness, you are perfectly all right, you don't have bad habits, you don't have anything. You have just come out of it. But to go further, you have to have full determination and understanding that this is a tremendous work and a tremendous task, and all your powers to be awakened within yourself. You have to be, first of all, fully equipped with readiness to serve the divine. Unless and until you have that readiness, that I don't want anything, I just want to serve the divine. As long as you are striving for it and asking for it with full heart, with full sincerity, then I'm sure this Kundalini will be strengthened and she'll cleanse you completely, and you will be one day Mahayogis. May God bless you.